talking. Keep talking through it, because it will make more sense when it's out of your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something I think is very important.
Absolutely. Well, good for you. That's amazing. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, you and I have never talked about the attempts of suicide, but I'm really glad that you shared your story with us. And I'm sorry you went through any of that.
No, honestly, it's...
You never would have gotten to whip my ass, though, had you
succeeded.
See, these are the things. Things
get better.
Yes, things get better.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at everything as a learning experience now. So, like, as each wave of depression comes, I'm trying my hardest. Like, trust me, I get to lows. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna restart the new day. If it's low tomorrow, okay, then I'll just try something a little different. Like, I'll do my art. I'll talk to somebody. I'll post on Facebook. I'm definitely really bad for my Facebook posts. I love doing all that stuff. So
that's okay.
That's how I do it. It's projecting. You have to do that. You have to let it out.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think that there's sort of, if you're using social media as an outlet tool and it's helping you get through tough times, then there's absolutely no harm in that.
And there isn't. And a lot of people will think, again, the negative and all that stuff, negative is going to be everywhere you go. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, just because it's negative, it's real. It's a human experience that, honestly, I don't find it right to minimize that. And, like, a lot of people will, and it's still taboo. But the more people do it, the more comfortable you're going to notice. I get inboxes from women and men all over, and they message me after I post really extreme posts, and it's me telling my own story, but I'll get messages of them, huge rants of them opening up their hearts, and they're just literally telling everybody, just like telling me like what they've gone through, and then that they want to say something, but they don't want to put it out there because they don't want anyone to be upset. Their family will be upset. And to rant to my inbox, I guess, is helping them. And even if I don't get it for a couple hours, I'll get multi messages of them kind of working through their stuff because they're getting it out to somebody.
I agree.
It's better than a piece of paper. A lot of people say write it down. Sometimes you just want ears. Somebody to know that there's somebody retaining what you were saying.
Absolutely.
And that's something that's very important. Is I think giving voices to people that suffer with mental illness, whether it's benign or whether it's very big problem, that aspect of itself, like, you know, I just think it's fundamental. It's fundamental to just give them that voice. And if no one wants to listen, you know what, just give them the platform to speak and just let them go. Because that's how I think it's the most therapeutic thing to do.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I think that everything that you've said has a lot of merit to it. And absolutely. I'm really impressed that you have all this insight, because it's like, you know, bringing someone on that I didn't know you had I understood that maybe you had some anxiety and some depression, but you've obviously had a lot of experience with how to deal with it too, and what's working for you will definitely, you know, maybe not help everyone, but it could help that one person that needs to hear it.
And I do emphasize that it's not something that I say as a generalized how to fix things. It's just an alternative that I do encourage. If you have tried everything else, you've tried every avenue, but not speaking, try it. I honestly suggest trying it, because like no matter what, you're gonna always hit those lows, but it's gonna be a lot easier to manage when you know how to manage them. And that's something I can honestly say over the last couple of years I've really been working on, and it's become a lot more easier. Still difficult, but a lot more easier.
I agree. I think that some of it comes with age too, and maturity. I think if you just give it a little more time, things get I don't want to say easier, but I want to say that you become maybe less affected by some of the things that you were once affected by.
You mute yourself to it. And like after a while, like after constant experiences and realizing like losing control is the best way to regain it. So every time you lose a sense of yourself, lose sense of your job, you're going to regain it, because it puts that fire under your ass again. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they need that. And like tough love, that's how I learned the best from it. And like same concept of how you approach anything in your life. Like you have to sometimes do the hard things to get to the good things. So that's something like I think is synonymous with a lot of people. A lot of people do find that they try to kind of go around all the hard stuff, and sometimes you got to face it straight on. Take it, then learn how to cope with it, continue on and learn from it, because once you know your history, you can prevent repeating it. That's something that's super important too.
The interesting thing that I'm finding just from sort of doing this sort of show and having people on here is the younger people that have been on, even if something's happening in their life at the moment, they kind of put it aside and they just want to plow through. And because, you know what, the world's a big, bright world. They've got, you know, all this pressure on them. They've got to get through school, whatever they're getting through. And then eventually you see sort of people kind of come into their 30s And it's like, oh shit, now all this stuff is coming up that I put aside. Eventually you will have to deal with it.
And that's it. Like, that's where I say talking is like with a pop bottle. It's kind of the same concept. You shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Once you release that pressure, it's going to be, when you shake it up again, it's not going to be as intense. Like, you know, and that's a lot of people, like, they find themselves in this kind of continuous rut. Stagnation is a really bad thing for your long-term health.
Right.
Like, you wanting to avoid it and putting it on the back burner, it does come back, like you say. It comes forward, and that's something that a lot of people need to learn how to cope with the now.
Yeah.
Accept what they have, accept that they cannot change certain things.
Sure.
And then just move past it. Days will go, times will fade.
Yep.
Like, and that's something that happens. Everything happens. I used to think that it was the worst thing in the world when this one girl didn't like me in high school. I don't even remember her name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think
that.
that's key. So I mean, anyone that's kind of younger, and that's a very impressionable time when you do care about what other people think. You do want to be popular. Fucking social media probably isn't helping any of these young age groups, right?
Now.
But you know, we're trying to help you by doing it this way. And just remember, as we're saying right now, the people that, you know, we wished had liked us back in the day, we don't even remember them now.
No,
so I mean, don't worry about putting time and energy into people that aren't going to give a shit about you in return. That's just life.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly,
know?
It's the little things that you have to appreciate, because like those little bursts of good, like, they will come and they will amplify each time. And it's just more, you have to be willing to expose yourself to the possibility that you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
And that's like a huge thing for a lot of these even younger people. They expect it to come so easy, and it's like, no, you will appreciate it 10 times more when you work for it. Like,
you will.
Super important.
And that's the thing, is a lot of the times you're going to have to, like, life has a way of really teaching you some fucked up lessons.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of clarity while you're in the middle of fucking it up.
Absolutely. I know. I think you know. I mean, but when you expect something to come so easily, sure, it does to some people. And you're right, they won't appreciate it. But the people that learn the hard way, like you're saying, I mean, they appreciate it so much more when it's there, and when they've gone through all that shit. The emotional growth that happens during that time is, it can be unbelievable.
And that's the thing, be grateful for these hard experiences, because, you know, like, if you use them as a muse to project yourself towards new goals. Like, 2 years ago, I could not even recognize myself. And when I see it now, and like the new things I'm interested in, new goals, new things that I'm taking up, people I'm around, things I'm doing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My depression would not allow me to even remotely come close to fantasizing those dreams.
Right.
Like,
right.
And that's something that a lot of people, I think, that they relate to. They know that depression makes you kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And
it's a sticky thing.
Yeah. So talking about it, going out and doing stuff, pushing yourself outside comfort zones, giving whatever you're dealing with a voice, and not letting it control you. Like, just say fuck it. Like, post it, say whatever you have to do, write it in a diary, put a stick in a stand and freaking write a letter. Whatever makes you feel better, do it. But like, I find that it's that action. They need to take that action and to feel comfortable. And that's the thing where, when I speak more about people need to feel comfortable, it's the people that are trying to suppress as well. They need to also be open to the fact that people are different. And honestly, those people that usually try to suppress, they're dealing with a lot of stuff too.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's one of those things where they say that, you know, people are sometimes garbage men, right? Where it's like, listen, they're going to dump their garbage on you, and you just have to choose whether or not you're going to accept that garbage and give it to someone else.
Exactly.
Or just, you know, put up your shield.
Well, and that's it. And like, a lot of people have their shields up so much that after a certain point, we're not really working together.
That's right.
Like, we totally, like, a lot of people, like, once you start intermingling with people and just getting to know, you'll realize there's a lot of people that are just like you. Like, I'm just starting to get back out and socializing, thanks to Ahmed especially.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
We'll get into
lovely. Yeah.
And but it was like, with him, like, I had a big issue with transitioning into meeting like a new social circle. I have a couple of my friends I've lost in the last little bit, like I mentioned. I've had a very close friend of mine move far away from her loss. So like, that traumatic loss in itself, I felt more alone than anything, and to have him show me that no, that's not the case. And I met some wonderful people. Like, I've met some amazing people, and they have showed me that they too, with their smiles all over their face, suffer from the same thing, and that it gives you a sense of camaraderie. You're feeling kind of, it gives you a more human sense. It's like, you're not this freak of nature that has this fucked up feeling. It's not you rewired all mess. Because yes, there is a science behind the depression, but you also realize that there is a frequency in depression, and that is something I think that is natural in human beings, and human beings naturally are affected by their situations. We evolved because we socialize, so the anti-socialism causes you to feel depressed.
Sure.
There's a lot of correlations to our natural human anatomy that we're very likely to feel really low for a long time, short time, for a split second. But it's something that people need to be willing to embrace, that that's actually a part of who we are as just people. Because I've noticed that seeing these people that I would, back in the day, I'd be so, they have like such a perfect idea, perfect life, they're so positive, and like I would want to emulate them, just to talk to them on a personal level, to see that they're exactly the same as me. I'm like, this is the people suit I was talking about. So that's it. Like, I definitely must say, like, going out and taking yourself out of those realms, it really does. Any mental illness, anything, when it comes to something that causes you physical discomfort that you can't see, putting yourself out, that's what you have to do. Put yourself out there and surround yourself with people that are open-minded to retain what you're feeling, not push it away. Like, I understand not babying it, but at the same point, everybody needs a support team. And who's to say which scenario is more important than another? Right. So that's where it's really difficult to kind of shove off someone's feelings without actually weighing in, like, it may not mean something to me, but it really seems to affect them. And that's something I think a lot of people keep kind of overlooking, is that it's something that's detrimental to them, whether it seems silly or not. It's a huge deal in their world.
Do you think that's sort of, do you think we're coming as a society and as humanity in general, do you think we're becoming more empathetic towards these people, or do you think that that's still an issue? Do you think that we're still not able to feel?
I think we're on a cusp.
We're on a cusp.
Yeah,
do you think it's like a bit of a turning point, potentially?
It's a turning point because we have people empathizing with, like, communities now. We have, like I said, the LGBT. We have even, like, people that are the hardcore libertarians, as we like to call them, for refugees. Things like this. We have so many different avenues we're trying to empathize with, but we've got a lot of resistance still. And same thing with mental illness. Mental illness is a huge thing. To just get someone to speak out sometimes takes some real forcing. And unfortunately, that is just ingrained in society, and it's going to take it's going to take a while. It's going to take people being exposed to stuff like this and having access to this type of media, because things like this, remember, everyone's impressionable, and we live for social media. Everything we care about is connected through social media in some aspect, whether it's our food that was taken a picture of when the barista took it, like, doesn't matter. It's always tied to technology. So when we use that, like, we can use it for a greater good. We can also use it for something that makes us kind of more interconnected. I think if we keep trying to pull ourselves away from it, it's no.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I think that the one thing I found on here that I found is really unique, more so than anything else, is there's two terms here. There's two ways you can go on this show. We'll talk about anything and everything, right?
Literally.
But but you either have the chance of talking about your sex life, kind of, you know, and relationships, or sex in general, or we can talk about mental health and, like, in the trials and tribulations you've kind of had to go through and overcome. More people are drawn, I'm finding,
to pain and suffering.
To talk about this than I'm like, it's so.
See, though, people thrive off seeing that there's faults in these people that we look at as invincible, as kind of otherworldly in the sense, because when you look at, like, celebrities and things like that, you never ever think, I wonder if they're depressed, or I wonder if they have anxiety. Are they nervous right now giving that speech? Like, you never think that. You think they got it. And that's something that I think even in Facebook, Instagram, like, if someone were to see me online, they might think, I'm super confident, but actually, like, some days I feel like I'm only this big. And that's something that, honestly, like, I do think that it's just, I would say that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I mean, you're talking about celebrities and not knowing whether or not they can go.
But it's the look. It's the look of how people just think that everything's fine, everything's, like, just masked over, and it's not. A lot of people are actually, they want to see that there's, I remember my thought now.
There you go.
They want to see they want to see the humanity to it, whether it's, as much as it is negative, they want to see that. They want to see that these people actually do deal with other issues. It's kind of nice to not see, like, everyone that looks like they have a kind of a cookie cutter life. It's kind of nice sometimes to see that they also suffer with some stuff.
Absolutely.
And as sick as that sounds, it's a human thing.
Well, it feels more real and genuine, right? Like, because we know that
you're seeing the negative and the positive. This is where I'm saying it blends, and this is where people like that, because, again, it's a relatability. And honestly, I must admit, like, especially with social media now, we got such high standards. We have like filters washing away like pores.
Yeah,
things
you can't fucking believe any pictures that are on there anymore. They're complete lies.
Not at all, and you really can't. And that's the super disappointing thing, is that a lot of people, they see these images, even with like myself, like half my photos, like I Photoshop the shit out of them.
Well, at least you admit it,
and
right?
that's the thing. Like I am a photographer.